Right, we finally made it. Apologise to everyone for being late. I was having a little bit of technical difficulty, which is kind of ongoing. However, we are live while I look to fix it. That's what the Bitcoin chart up there. We are pumping back to the upside, back at 77,500. I'm incredibly annoyed at myself for this morning's antics, which we'll get into no doubt in a minute. Let me just make sure, am I on the right camera? Yeah, we are. We should be. Are we good to go? Hang on, let me try and turn it on. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Right, Justin, my mate, how we doing?
All right. Bearing up well, Dave, in the face of adversity.
Very good. It's what we like. It's what we want. Yes. Everyone in the chat as well. We've got a few comments. Good afternoon to you all. Hope you're all doing well. Hope you all had a nice weekend. Hope you're all surviving. And yeah, we'll take a look at what's going on in the market. Obviously, what happened over the weekend last night, and what's currently going on at the moment as well. Yeah, I'm incredibly annoyed at myself for how I've played this. Don't know about anyone else, but yeah, I woke up today. I longed too early. Didn't wait for the full sweep of March's low. And yeah, completely went against my plan. So I'm pissed off.
Just ape in, Dave. Just press max long.
Not a chance, mate. I don't think my mental state could take it. I think I'd actually go insane. But yeah, how are you, mate? We had another Sunday dump. Obviously, I think it was last week. I think we got a Sunday dump as well, was it?
Well, the thing is, it's the same thing. I think manipulation the weekend by Binance, Winsmute, and stuff like that. It was pretty clear. We were obviously talking on Friday or Saturday. I can't remember when we were talking, and we were saying it looked like 80 was being supported, which clearly wasn't being supported. And it is what it is. I'm very, very, very much not bothered by it all. I'm not particularly trading perps apart from Bitcoin at the moment on crypto. With the dump, I've got some stinkiest of stink bits on spot triggered this morning.
Yeah.
So fine. And my whole view is it's either going to go completely to zero or going to probably pick up some pretty easy 10, 20 exits from here.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's the thing is, there's just from obviously Wiz and I were talking about it on Friday on his stream. The macro environment is not normal at all.
No.
Everyone's been saying the cycle's weird, and we're just in unprecedented generational change that's about to hit the financial world. And I think we were saying before that if this didn't happen, and the correction and the not to the markets, but the actual the US sort out their debt issues, you can only kick the can down the road so long before the whole thing implodes, and literally everybody on planet Earth will lose everything. What I can't remember what the theory is called. Was it called the Great Reset or whatever it's called?
Yeah, the Great Reset. Yeah,
would basically happen. So I sent you that video earlier that explains it pretty well. But it's exactly the same as what we've been talking about. Basically, they've got the US have got 36 trillion of debt. Every single year they add 2 trillion more to it, and there's only so much you can do. Until that gets fixed, they're not going to pay off or start eroding into the 36 trillion. But if you can stop the constant bleed and adding to it, that's the first foothold.
Yeah, absolutely. Before we do continue, make sure everyone drops a big like on the stream. Make sure you subscribed as well. But yeah, what Justin said there is absolutely correct. And yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, S&P 500 has been bought back, obviously, in London, in futures. So we are obviously looking to retrace. I'm guessing this is where Asia opened last night. So it'll be interesting to see, obviously, what happens. I mean, in terms of Bitcoin, we have deviated the March low now and reclaimed it. Obviously, we got a bit of resistance on it on these two candles, then pushed through, and it looks like, obviously, barring closing below, we have, if you want to maybe use this as a key piece of SR maybe today, obviously reclaimed it as support as long as we close back above on this candle again. But yeah, apart from that, maybe looking good for a squeeze across the board, depending on obviously what the US market is like. Is this maybe just a dead cat bounce in London, and then we close London session, open New York, and then it just completely just rips again to the downside? I'm still watching this kind of area, anywhere in and around 69k, maybe down towards 60, 67-ish, as I do believe that would probably, worst case scenario, be the low, I think, if we are to face more downside, which, I think we've probably had on this candle here. I don't know what you think, mate, but I think given the low time frame consolidation that we had on it early today, obviously, we hung around there for about half an hour or so. I think there's probably a lot of people that have had bids in and around, maybe 74, obviously it just missed 74, 73, 72, that have maybe seen that and gone, fuck it, cancel my bid, I'll just hit it at market. So then maybe there's a good amount of people that have just, maybe rushed into, maybe bid down here that have rushed into it. Maybe we got a second drop to take them out. I don't know.
I can tell you exactly why we bounced where we are. If you go onto the daily,
yeah,
then go to the candle of the
here, right there.
Yeah.
So let me put my magnet on.
Fair value gap, bang there.
Right on the money. There we go.
That's why we bounced it.
Yeah. So it'd be interesting to see what happens. I mean, yeah, we are currently deviating the March low. We've had a full sweep as well of obviously any liquidity that's built up below. Obviously as we ground up over here, the initial bounce. So that is, it's quite a deep retrace as well. It went down about another 2k from below March low's wick.
Yeah.
So it is, what you'd probably call a full sweep, really. But is it over? We'll have to see. Obviously, it could definitely bounce from here. If it bounces from here, then I think this kind of, until we, break up or down, this kind of solidifies. Obviously, we've not explored up here since early March, but most certainly this bit as a trading range, probably.
Well, the thing is, you've still got the trend line on the high time frame.
I think I've got that outlined here. Yeah, there we go.
And I very much dislike trend lines, but all I will say with trend lines, you can see quite clearly where the liquidity is building. If you think above that trend line, there is liquidity building. Yeah. And you've got the CME gap.
I think, I actually think
500-ish, I think it was.
Yeah, I think there's two, Obviously, we've got this big one that created this weekend, but I think this is still open as well, isn't it? So yeah, obviously that closed there. And then we opened, so that's a very small one. But there is still another one open there, as you can see, when we closed on Wednesday for the hour that CME shuts.
Yeah.
We did also create another one up towards 86k as well. So that's obviously a very small one, and probably maybe one a lot of people aren't taking, too much attention to. Obviously, the main one is this that got created this weekend, but there is another very small one up here as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, big one is obviously, all the way up to 84, isn't it?
It's vast. But I think in general, for people that are panicking or not understanding why we're in this position, not with just crypto, but just what's happening in general, everyone's calling for a black swan. Me personally, the triggers that I look at with certain bond yields and stuff, it's not going to be a full-on market crash unless we go against everything that's gone before in history. So I'm pretty, and it will catch a bid at some point. At some point, people are going to step in and go, right, this is time to buy, because if you look across the board, the bond yields on the 10-year have started to pull back. The DXY, we can go into it all, but all of the charts, everyone that thinks that or is getting caught up in the headlines of, oh my God, these tariffs, and basically Trump has rugged the whole world and all that kind of stuff. None of this would be done without the blessing of very, very powerful CEOs at the top of the S&P 500. I'm pretty confident of that, because they're not going to just suddenly sit there and who have backed Trump to get into power. And a lot of them at the inauguration, you saw them on the front row or very close to the front row. They knew this was coming. You look at Warren Buffett has moved massively into cash over the last 12 months or so. A lot of the top boys, the Bezoses of this world, have all been going to or selling off large portions of their stock. So I'm pretty sure it's not a great surprise to people at that kind of end of the spectrum, anyway.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the thing is, like you say, if you look at the DXY and put it on the monthly, the DXY had completely front-run the election, and unless it was going to completely break structure, break its trading range, it had to come down. So there was always going to be a narrative to do it. So that's fine. Obviously, gold has run hard as a safe haven because bonds haven't been performing how they should be in this phase. Bonds are not performing well in this phase because they're trying to manipulate them downwards because they've got massive amounts of debt to refinance this year. So it all kind of links up. That's why the cycle is somewhat skewed.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, I mean, yeah, it's... why is my camera gone off again? I've only just realised.
You're shy on a Monday, Dave.
Yeah, honestly, it's an absolute pain. Right. There we go. We're back on. I think we're back on, yeah. We got Crypto saying, we got Listy in the chat. Big up Listy. Hello, my good friend Kazim. How are you doing? But yeah, I mean, it's definitely going to be an interesting week for sure. I mean, my personal opinion is a lot of countries. Well, we've already seen a lot of countries, haven't we? Already, bowing down to what Trump wants. I think over the weekend we saw Taiwan. A lot
of Asia, basically.
Yeah, I can't remember who else. Yeah, I can't remember exactly who else, but there's definitely been a few more.
Israel.
So I think the main one is China, innit? Obviously, China is kind of refusing to now play ball, and I think we've actually had today. I think China is injecting stimulus in it to stimulate the economy. I think they've dropped interest rates and stimulating, aka turning the money printer on a little bit.
Which does what? That means that there is an M2 will be going up.
Yeah.
So
I mean that is obviously providing more liquidity and stuff like that. But in terms of obviously this whole tariff talk and stuff like that, it seems like maybe the US-China part of it is probably maybe going to be ongoing for a while.
Yeah.
We'll soon see anyway. But I think a lot of countries we'll see this week kind of just bowing down. I think the EU has come out as well, haven't they, saying they're willing to negotiate with the US. So a lot of them will just bow down and go, yeah, you know what? Which, to be fair, if that's the case, then it's worked, hasn't it? The US, there's no doubt about it. The US takes it hard on tariffs. You know, a lot of countries slap tariffs on the US when the US hasn't been doing it to them, or, you know, significantly lower. So this is obviously, you know, been Trump's plan. He knows what to do. You slap them with tariffs, and the likelihood is they're going to roll over and go, oh, no, okay. You know, we'll if you want equal tariffs, you know, we'll either reach a low number or zero or whatever it may be. Which, if it comes out good, if it comes out right, sorry, then, you know, he's obviously played it exactly how he wanted to. Whether he meant it, you know, whether he thought it would crash it this much or not is irrelevant, really.
But the thing is, it had to be done. Right?
Yeah.
Keep saying it. The world financially is absolutely a ticking time bomb. It gets fixed, or everybody on planet Earth that don't just get squeezed and hit a bit will get absolutely tontoed. Yeah. And I would say, for the greater good, take a bit of short-term pain.
Yeah.
Get everything in order, because if they can fix the adding to the debt every year, and a lot of that is financing the debt, or paying off the interest for the debt, and they can slow down the actual build-up, that's good. And that means at some point, whether it's in 6 weeks, 6 days, 6 minutes, 6 years, things will change fundamentally for the better, and we will get some booming economies again.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the interesting part of it all is this camera, man. I think I'm gonna have to buy a new camera. It's not playing ball at all. I think the interesting part of it is obviously the main discussion point around tariffs on Trump's part initially was, you know, we're going to put tariffs on, you know, we're going to, you know, get loads of more income, you know, the country's going to be rich, you know, maybe we'll be able to eradicate income tax on low earners and stuff like that. The interesting point is, obviously, if a lot of this camera, the interesting point is, if obviously, because it's put reciprocal tariffs on, if a lot of countries come out and say, okay, you know, we don't want these US tariffs, we'll do 0%. Obviously, then the US come back with 0%. It's not actually getting the US any more money. So I think that's an interesting part of it. Is, you know, obviously a lot of the discussion was around, you know, they'll be able to hang on, let me just ban that guy who's asking for money in the chat. You know, a lot of the discussion was around, you know, making the US revenue higher, lowering the deficit, you know, being able to do something with tax. If a lot of countries come back and say we'll do 0%, then it's not actually getting the US any more money. So, you know, where else is the deficit going to be filled in? Which is the interesting part.
But the thing is, obviously, if they had just cut government spending through Doge, and that was it, people are still pissed and moaned and stuff like that. Yeah. But that would have had a massive impact on GDP. And then that obviously screws everything else. So they needed to attack it from both ends. So they need revenue in and they need costs down. And because it balances it out. And then it's a short-term thing to get everything under control. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think we looked at the bond yields before. They have gone up considerably from when they had to finance it last time. They need it cheaper, so they can actually start slowing the death spiral down. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, you can only imagine what would have happened if the Democrats would have stayed in. You know, the US actually probably would have gone bankrupt, which would have caused, you know, you don't even want to imagine what would have happened to the world economy and, you know, everyone's money. If that happens,
everyone would have got rugged.
Yeah.
Everybody.
Yeah.
And I don't say that. That's literally, if people thought, just imagine the financial collapse in 2008, magnify that by 1 billion%, and then you might get somewhere. It would have been biblical. we would have been back to trading chickens, goats, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Rather, and I don't know if they do that on TradingView.
They'll have to get it in. Emergency ticker edition.
Yeah, get Wiz on the case.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a necessary thing. Yes, it's aggressive. Yes, it's is upsetting a few people. If you actually do a tiny bit of due diligence and look into it, this was always going to happen. Let's say DXY was front run. The stock market has front run where it is at, and that's why people are taking profits now. It run hard, and I saw something earlier, and it was if you look from the Trump Trump election win, people are still in profit. I think from that point in time, if you're even like most of the Mag 7 would still probably be still in profit. So I think people have probably just been a bit greedy and lost all sense of perspective.
Yeah. I mean, you do go and look at some things, obviously minus Bitcoin. We've obviously had this huge pullback. Tesla's not even down to the lowest point that it was, in early March. Tesla's still got, obviously pre-market, it's coming in around them levels now. But, you got Nvidia. Nvidia is coming into, this area here, I think I'd be tempted to buy some Nvidia if it got deep into the 80s. If we got to around 85 or something, I'd be very tempted to go and launch some into Nvidia, I think.
So my personal view is Tesla, I would potentially bid at this phase for a little bounce. I would say around about 200. Yeah. Is not a bad level. But my primary buy zone will be between $68 and $95. And that's not going to happen this week or this month, probably not even this year, but at some point we're going to go down and fill that gap.
Yeah, I mean, it's same for Nvidia, isn't it? You look at the Nvidia chart.
I see
where is the main, it's got a gap here at $30 upwards a little bit. But, you've got this long, consolidation that it was in for many months before you got the impulse higher again.
I mean, there is a massive, massive, massive void in price where it just went green handles between $76 and $49.50. Huge run up that just basically is not adding pullbacks. So that will get filled at some point. And again, if you look at the Intel or some of the PayPal kind of tickers, it's the same thing. It will go back there. I'm not sure yet, but at some point in the future, it will.
Yeah, but I mean, price always comes back to a starting point most of the time, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You can obviously pick, period in time where, maybe it didn't and stuff like that. But, especially with something like this, this is one of the largest assets in the world. It's not an altcoin or a meme coin or whatever. It can't just carry on going up forever. If it went up here, how much was it worth at the top? It was the most valuable company in the world, wasn't it? Probably around 3 or 4 trillion.
Yeah.
Probably something like that. It's not just going to carry on going up forever. $300, $400, just eating up all the liquidity. It has to come down at some point. And I mean, obviously all of them will probably come down as well. But I mean, in terms of this actual correction, so I measured it. So the last correction we got obviously was in 2022, the big one. Obviously, we did have this one, which come in at that was 10% or so.
Yeah.
But in terms of the big one, obviously 2022 caused by the Fed hiking rates and high inflation, that was 27%. We're currently at 18, so we're not really that far away. Obviously, we're probably not going to mirror that exact performance and then bounce. A lot of the dips aren't exactly the same. But we are coming into, nearly, well, if you go down to today's low, we are at 21%. So potentially, we're at bounce territory now. Now, it's a case of what happens after here, isn't it? So it's a case of whether this is like a scallop pattern where you get price, continuously grinding up. Then you get one dead aggressive, really harsh pullback, and then price then goes on and grinds up higher. Or whether this is the peak and then you get a complacency bounce and then it rolls over again and then we go on to create, fresh lows wherever.
Well, the thing is, if you chuck on the weekly, Dave, and put on the 200 moving average.
Let me go on, and I think we'll have a look. I haven't checked this, but I think the Nasdaq come into contact with it, didn't it? Or has it lost it? I don't know. Let's have a look anyway. The S&P. So 200 weekly moving average. Hang on, let me get rid of all this. Oh wow! Oh yeah. Okay. So we are very close, aren't we? We're about another couple of $100, aren't we, away?
Yeah.
Which, yeah, I mean, you would imagine it's not going to lose that. When was the last time it lost it? It lost it very, very minorly there, didn't it? I mean, I don't know even whether you consider that losing it properly on that weekly or not.
So September, October 22, we closed below it on the weekly for a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
And then it was March 20, which would obviously have been COVID.
Yeah. Apart from that, obviously every touch has bounced. So yeah, I mean, maybe that would line up perfectly with where it's pushed down to for it'd be kind of like the ultimate bear trap, that, wouldn't it? Which maybe lines up with Bitcoin going down to, maybe high 60s, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something to have a look at. I mean, if we have a look at NQ, NQ's not too far away either. So yeah, it would line up pretty perfectly, wouldn't it?
Yes.
For one ultimate big mega bear trap. So we'll see if we get there or not. Obviously that would mean that we still need to go lower. But this week's probably the week to do it if it's going to happen.
Yeah. The one that's been properly twatted is the Nikkei. That's that from the highs in July 24. We obviously had the pullback and then it recovers, didn't make a new high. That's down from July high. We're now down 28.5%.
Oof. Yeah, insane, isn't it? I'm going to just reply to a message.
So the question is, what do people want to talk about who are in the chat?
Yeah, Stonksy, just to answer that question, I'll sort it after the stream, mate.
Yeah.
But yeah, let us know what you want to see in the chat. What do you want us to mostly look at? If we look at Bitcoin a sec. Now, something that's interesting on Bitcoin, obviously, we've got the 200 weekly moving average down here.
Look at the 50 as well, Dave.
The 50 has been quite key on it the whole time. Have we lost the 50 now?
I think we've not closed daily.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, okay, yeah, it's bounced. Yeah, because obviously we reclaimed it here, didn't we? Have to reject, obviously lost it here, then came up, closed above, and then lost again, and then rejected, closed above, then didn't touch it again, obviously touched it several times here. So yeah, that's quite key actually. Yeah, that'd be quite key to see if we do hold that on this weekly close or not.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't really rule out something like this, would you? Maybe like a big long lower wick maybe into here or wherever, and then close above.
The only thing from my standpoint that I'm still slightly reticent about going down to retest the origin of the move.
Mm-hmm.
Every single pump that we've had up since the bottom of the cycle, we've not retested the breakout point.
Yeah.
So why would we do it now? And if we do it now, why would we hold there? If you look at the fibs on stuff, and I'm not a massive fibby person, but hey ho. So if you draw a fib from top to bottom of where we are now, obviously we bounce off that daily fair value gap, but the 382 is at just under 74,000. And then if you're going to potentially drop, then you're looking at like, if we bounce at 0.5, maybe it's 62,850. If not, you're down into like the next points of interest are in the 40s and 50s. So I'd still, to me, why would they allow everyone to buy some real cheap entry points? I personally, if I was a market maker, wouldn't allow them to do it, but that's because I'm nasty and mean.
Well, I mean, yeah. Thing is, it's something you've gone through, isn't it? On stream the past few weeks, is it? You know, not retesting the origin and keeping to the trend.
Yeah.
It's
too easy for people.
Yeah, and kind of like today as well. You know, if that was the low and was to go up from here, all these bids that are residing, you know, down towards 74, 73, 72, 71, 70, they'd all get left behind. And then, you know, if we look like we've put the low in, we'd be left chasing then, which does make you think it's either kind of that's it, or maybe we pull back even deeper.
But then you're looking at, I mean, if you pull back deeper, like we said, like the 50 moving average and stuff like that, you're losing some very, very, very important levels. Yeah. And and then at that point, do people just go, right, we are literally, when I say people, not us fine folks that sit in the retail world, but the money that really matters, the market makers, where they just go back short and absolutely just nuke it to like 30 grand or something. Yeah.
It's all possible, isn't it?
Everything's on the table. Really, really, really is. And it's a delicate balancing act, I'd say. But I mean, on the positive side, if I'm putting positive pants on, things like the Bitcoin dominance is now is very close to probably breaking or taking out that top wick, and maybe, just maybe, that leads to some recovery in altcoins and a projection. Yeah. So that's positive pants. The other positive pants that I've got on is I actually sold all of my stock positions about 2 or 3 months ago. So doesn't bother me in the slightest that everything's moving from that standpoint. I've also had some very nice cheap bids on spot field this morning. So I'm semi positive.
Well, see, that is, you know, that is something that maybe people don't take advantage of enough, is when you get times like this, having stink bids in and just bids, you know, whether you think, oh, these won't get filled or whatever, but, you know, if you look at, you know, whether you talk about low caps or whatever, I mean, look at the state of Ethereum. Would you have, you know, when we was up here in December, would you have ever said we're coming back to the, you know, the levels of start of 2023?
Well, would I have said we would come back? No. Did I have the spots on my chart that were still open? Yes. So obviously we've got this little guessing thing that we do, Dave, that, as you know, we've a select few of guessing the bottoms of moves, and I wouldn't be surprised to see it sweep a bit lower. XRP, personally, if you go you're on the weekly, Dave. Yeah. Down that, look at the high, left, there, where that bit there, not the high from there, the actual candle close on the weekly. Yeah.
This.
and
Oh,
draw
here.
155-ish.
Let me get the magnet on. Yeah, there we go. Bang.
If I was going to guess, it coming back to possibly there.
Yeah.
That would be the next level to test, in my opinion. Which there you go.
Yeah, I mean, if we get any sort of relief bounce today as well, watching for a key underside retest on here. If you go to the hourly chart, obviously around $2-ish is where it's been held up from. It's obviously dipped below in parts. But if we do get, any sort of rally today, this might give a very, very tasty underside retest and rejection. Obviously, big, long, month over month range. If we do get anywhere close to $2 and it looks like momentum's leveling off, that might be a very, very nice, risk reward. Obviously, your invalidation isn't reclaiming the range, but might just be a standard underside retest of what was support, now resistance, and then bang, nuke it.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I was just reading some of the chat, for the traditional markets, their space, they're shitting themselves. Like a 30% pullback in crypto, it's just like, whatever.
Yeah.
All in a day's work.
Well, let's see. This is what I said to. I think this is what we said on. I think it might have been Friday, or I can't remember when. But after Friday's US session, you had people. It had pulled back 15% from all-time high, and you had people everywhere panicking, saying, "Oh, the Fed needs to step in. The Fed needs to do this and do that." They wouldn't survive a day in crypto, would they? If they think the Fed needs if they think the Fed needs to step in over a 15% correction, because. The market. You look at the weekly on the SPX. Let's have a look. You look at the weekly, and it has literally just been. Obviously, the high time frame is up only pretty much forever. But in terms of particularly since it put this low in, what will that be? About 2.5 years ago, it literally has. Bar one correction there, 10%. That was probably about 5. That was probably about 5 barring this wick. But it literally has been up only for about 2.5 years. Then we get one deep pullback, and everyone's like, the Fed needs to step in. The Fed needs to do something, as if like it just needs to go like this forever and never pull back.
Yes.
So yeah, which makes you think, if that's the reaction, you can see you can see people. This is interesting where it capped off there on a couple of weeks. What level is that? So that's the 50 MA actually on the SPX, the weekly.
Yeah.
That was acting as a nice little level there. But you can see, can't you? Obviously panic and stuff like that. But if that's the reaction, you could kind of twist a knife in and just send it lower and really make people puke, can't you?
Yeah. Well, so this morning, obviously gold has taken a bit of a tumble. In addition, obviously since last week as well. So when I was watching Bloomberg this morning, they were saying people they were surmising that people are taking some money out of gold to basically stop them getting liquidated on some of the other assets.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, yeah. Which max pain there is, you make people sell, and then you liquidate them anyway. You make people sell the gold to to try and protect the positions, and then you liquidate the positions. They're then left with no positions and no gold.
Yeah.
So if we do pull another, obviously from here, another 5% down to the 200 weekly moving average, you're gonna have a lot of people puking, and just the shit that you would see everywhere. This is the Great Depression. This is this. This is that. This is 2008. Only for it to then bottom off, and then towards. Maybe, before summer, we get a little relief rally.
Well, so in the past, Dave, when we've had these sell-offs like this, and that no you is measuring the moves, what's the reaction been afterwards? Has it been V-shaped?
Yeah. So obviously, I mean that's a one-off event, isn't it? So if we look at, I think I went back to this one. This one was V-shaped. Obviously, COVID is a complete anomaly. But typically when you look at it on the weekly chart, it has been V-shaped, yeah. So, you go back to this one in 2023. That was a pretty strong V shape. We had this one in 2024. I think this was when Silicon Valley Bank collapsed, if you remember.
Yeah.
And then we had that kind of regional banking crisis. That was pretty much a V shape. You know, it went down and then went up as many candles as it went down. This is when the Nikkei dropped. Remember last August?
Yeah.
That was a pretty V-shaped recovery.
Yeah, that was literally the same afternoon, wasn't it?
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, you would imagine because what happens, you know, when you have something like this is you have people just completely losing their marbles and, you know, either selling or refusing to buy the blood and stuff like that. But who's buying? You know, it's smart money, isn't it? You know, it's if they're acting smart. It's, you know, institutions and stuff like that buying the blood, especially if you come down and touch this and then just completely just ripping it up, because you then go after the liquidity, don't you? And people will just be opening, you know, puts on this just like mad. So it'd be interesting. It'll definitely be interesting. But I mean, if we could get one more touch today, that would be amazing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Does that line up, particularly obviously where you've had your levels lined up before looking at this? Does that line up with a level that you've been looking at anyway?
Yeah, so
I this area, doesn't it?
I had a box on the weekly that was from basically the top of the candle close from the 2nd of Jan 24.
Yeah.
And then the box pulled all the way up to, which was probably the tops of the wicks from January 22 as well. And then up to the bottoms of the candle closes from 15th of April 24.
Mm-hmm.
So there was like and that's what I look for in these things is voids in price, because it's similar to like fair value gaps. That's kind of what I'm looking at. And where price, or there's just a lot of open orders that have been left behind.
I mean, if we go and have a look, actually, you know, Apple's not too far. You know, this is pre-market, so it's not too far away from its 200 weekly moving average. You got Nvidia's all the way down at 54, so that's like an eternity. You've got Meta's pretty far way down. You got Microsoft, which is actually quite close. You got Amazon's fairly close as well.
Yeah.
Tesla's actually.
And the thing is, if you look at the Amazon again, Dave, quickly, as well, just below where does that line up with that liquidation wick from July, that August wick down? Yeah,
pretty much.
That similar level. Yeah. So you can see that liquidating that wick, and possibly. And the good thing is about this, you can see which ones are probably going to bounce hardest. So Apple's close. Tesla, once again, is a beast all on its own. Yeah. And again, I hate to keep on about it. It's almost as if it's front running everything else.
Yeah, I mean, Tesla's a very weird chart, you know, with its 200 moving average, isn't it? When you see it, like, you get everything else which kind of has not touched it for a long time or touched it once or twice. And then you get Tesla, which has just been completely chopping through it for, like, you know, 2.5, 3 years, just completely chopping in and around it. Yeah. So that probably doesn't really have much weight at all when it comes to Tesla.
It's just, I remember weeks ago us being on stream, Dave, and talking about the Mag 7, and the Tesla chart is fundamentally different to every single other Mag 7 chart. Yeah. And I don't think that's an accident. Yeah. So what do you think of New York Open, Dave?
I don't know. I find it hard to believe that we won't see a lot of panic selling on Open, maybe. I mean, selfishly, I want it to go down more. Selfishly, I would like it to go down more. But, I mean, it's that counteract, isn't it, of probably you get initial panic selling at first. You know, people are, you know, we know what it's like in crypto, so it will transfer over into TradFi. People will just be looking for the first exit when it opens today, thinking that it's all over, and you know, reading all, because obviously in TradFi they've not had it open over the weekend. You know, crypto's 24/7 in it. We can sell whenever we want. A lot of people will have probably been doomsday articles over the weekend. As soon as they get the chance today, hit the red button. So maybe we see a sell-off. Maybe we see London's absorption reversed.
Did you see that thing that we sent over about Vanguard?
Yes.
Was not to sell.
Yeah.
So there is
panic. There is some, there's definitely uncertainty there. When you're asking people not to sell, it kind of does, it makes you think, well, what sort of position are these funds in? If they're asking people not to sell, what sort of position are they in? Why are they asking people not to sell? What may it put them in a compromising position if the market keeps going down? Yeah. Are they stretched? It does kind of give you vibes, doesn't it, of pretty strong uncertainty, because if they're asking people not to sell, especially the size of Vanguard, what happens if it does keep going down? It does make you wonder, doesn't it? And when you're asking people not to sell, that kind of puts it in the public eye, doesn't it? Of why are they asking people not to sell? It's a free market. What happens to them or others if people do carry on selling? So it is quite interesting.
I'm not overly bothered about it. I think it's doing what's necessary.
Unless that is kind of like a reverse psychology tactic by Vanguard and these other ones, is to maybe, say don't sell, so it puts doubt into people's minds, and then they end up selling, and then they sell right into, all these bids that are undoubtedly waiting to be filled, maybe down at the SPX 200 weekly moving average and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that is, a bit of reverse psychology or something. We'll have to see. But yeah, it's not been a bad absorption, has it? But you could just see it completely falling through the floor on open. Which I think if we do get, I think we will get a turnaround for the rest. If today is bad and blood and stuff like that, I think we do get a turnaround for the rest of the week. So maybe today is the last of it if we do get it.
Yeah.
Now, interesting enough, so for anyone interested, I tweeted it out on the Stonksy profile before. We do have circuit breakers planned for today. I'm guessing these are planned every day, but obviously most of the time they don't they don't need to be highlighted. So the first circuit breaker on the S&P would come at 4718. So that would be another just over 200 point drop from where it is at the moment. Then another down at 444. So I don't think, where was that 200 weekly moving average? So we probably don't get, obviously, I don't think we see minus 13% today. That is just, that is. Have you seen everyone comparing it to, is it 1987 crash?
Yeah.
Everyone's obsessed, aren't they? Everyone's obsessed with comparing it to that crash, which it's just, you can't compare now to, what would that be, about 50 years ago? Just completely different, innit? They didn't actually have circuit breakers in back then as well.
People people fundamentally do not understand what's going on and what's happening. They think Trump has just rocked up one day and gone, basically, screw everyone, I'm going to raise tariffs, taxes, VAT, or whatever you want to call it. That's basically what it is.
Yeah, I think, to be fair, if you was looking at it and you were looking to do some sneaky business today, I think probably an ideal thing to do is to drop it into this first circuit breaker, cause absolute sheer panic and worry, which would slam it very close to 200 weekly moving average, come out of the circuit breaker, and then just rip it to the upside. That would completely fuck with people, wouldn't it? That would be evil, but it would be completely masterminded by anyone who wants to cause mass panic and, benefit from the panic.
I like evil, it's good.
Yeah.
But the thing is as well, the other thing to note, we have not got any financial news until Wednesday. So on Wednesday, we got Bank of Japan, and then we got FOMC.
Yeah, well, someone has been putting in the chat, I don't know if it's true or not, that there's an emergency Fed meeting today. Does anyone know if that's factually true or not? But apparently they said 11:30, so I'm guessing that's 11:30 Eastern time, which would be 4:30.
Yeah.
Our time. So does anyone know if that's actually factually confirmed and not just a rumor? Is there an emergency Fed meeting today? Because if there is, I mean, what are they gonna do? I mean, Powell's pretty set, isn't he, on not doing what Trump wants?
According to crypto saving experts, there is an emergency meeting today.
Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, Powell has been clear that he doesn't want to give in to Trump. Trump wants Powell to lower rates. Powell said he's not willing to do what Trump tells him to do or wants him to do. So it'd be interesting if Trump has pushed Powell into a corner. Like, I can't see it, to be honest. I can't see it. Like, it would come across very weak, wouldn't it, from Powell if he lowers rates now because Trump has forcefully crashed the market.
Yes.
But apparently there is a meeting, so I mean, I would imagine Powell doesn't have sole say on it. I imagine there's probably been a vote by the board of the board of directors, whatever they're called, on the Fed board.
Yeah.
Maybe to have an emergency meeting or something. Apparently it's not an emergency meeting. It has been planned in the past. Well, I don't think there's anything on planned in the calendar, is there? For something
it's not in the Forex.
So unless this is a meeting where it just goes on behind closed doors regularly, and then obviously there's no sort of conference or anything, because then there's nothing to announce or whatever. So maybe it's not in the calendar then, because they wouldn't have a conference or announce any decision or whatever. But as far as I know, I've never seen anything this much highlighted as a Fed meeting that goes on behind closed doors. I don't know.
No.
We'll have to see. But I don't think it's actually a good sign. That typically when you go back in history and you look, the times that the Fed has emergency cut rates has been in times of just complete chaos, which this is. But then the chaos is typically, minus COVID, continued. So I don't think it's not exactly good that if the Fed are emergency cutting rates, because it shows instability in the market. I think. I don't know.
I really couldn't care less either way. My rationale still stands. The top of the bull run in 2021, the market cap of crypto in its entirety was $3 trillion. Yeah. We have barely tipped over that really this time round. Unless the cycle is completely broken and is not coming back, we've got a lot of headroom still to come. And I am not panicking. I will not be bullied out of my positions.
Yeah. It's not a time for panic, is it?
And also, what's the worst that can happen? Right, okay, it all goes to shit. All right, fine. As long as you haven't put every single penny of your life savings into it, then it should be fine. And it just means the bear market's here quicker. It means the trading side of crypto becomes normalised again.
Yeah. We'll soon see. We've got 6 minutes until open, so it's gonna be fun.
Quickly do 2 minutes of work. So have a look at this. So where was the? So we're bang on, literally bang on the POC for the day. Where was?
Yeah, I'm gonna get the stream set up now for. We'll have Bitcoin and the S&P side by side as usual, and let's see what the crack is.
Well, pre-market, the Mag 7 looks down about 3%, sorry. 4%, 4.5%. And it's dropping.
Right.
Crypto Bros on one today.
Yeah, let's get it ready anyway. Let's see. Let's go for, so we'll have over here, we'll have Bitcoin, and we'll do, let's do the 5-minute chart, shall we? Let's do the 5-minute chart. Let's turn these moving averages off. And then let's go to SPX. And we'll see what we get. This is going to be very exciting. The thing for me is, as well, is obviously as we're going through all this, you have got to kind of sit back and remember, when we look back on, previous market crashes and stuff like that, this is going to be one of them, innit? This is going to be a crash that we look back on and say, oh, do you remember that? Or, you look back on and say, well, what happened on this crash? What caused this and stuff like that? So you do have to kind of remember that these opportunities do not come around often. This is the most panic we've seen in the market since the COVID crash, really, for 5 years, pretty much.
The thing is, fundamentally good companies are still fundamentally good companies.
Yeah.
It doesn't, all that's changed is external kind of pressures. It's nothing major. And at some point in time, once the refinancing is done and they've done what they need to balance the debt and the increase in debt, off the back of this, you could get another little golden age of like a proper run up. And I'm only saying it could be, it's not financial advice, obviously, but it stands to reason that after a reset, we've slammed massively into demand.
Yeah.
It should at some point bounce, but if it don't, so what? Find something else to trade or something else to. There'll be stuff that'll bounce. My only concern at the moment, Dave, is from a holding perspective, is delistings on exchanges. That's the one. And funny enough, I mentioned Christian earlier, and a couple of others, that on MEX, I got an announcement from MEXC this morning. Yeah. Saying that you can now trade Euro USDT as a trading pair on their exchange. So TradFi assets on crypto exchanges. Oh, I think it's going to be, if you look at the Mag 7, there was that 5th of August low might get taken out.
Let's see. Let's get ready for it. But yeah, you are. Yeah, you're completely logical with what you're saying. And yeah, I mean, yeah, delistings are they're getting very strange, aren't they? I think as well. Yeah, I don't really know what to think about them, because it's kind of like you're delisting things. Maybe they haven't got the best volume and stuff, but they've been around for ages. But yet you're keeping any old shit on that has been listed in the past, couple of weeks, and it's instantly dropped 90%.
Yeah.
So I don't know. But we are dropping pretty aggressively, moving into the open here, and here we go.
We're open. We're up and running.
Yeah, open. We're open for business. Let's see what we get.
So the SPX is open, and we are currently 3.32% away from the 200 moving average. 200 moving average.
Yeah, the weekly moving average. Slam it down today. Give it all in one go. Get it over with.
Be done.
Don't want to see one. Don't want to see one single green tick for the first 6 hours.
Savage.
So it's better off to just get it over with, isn't it? Really, instead of grinding it down.
I mean, Tesla's been absolutely body pumped straight away.
Let's see. Let's go over and have a look. Oh, yeah, look at that, down to 6, nearly 7%. You've got Nvidia down nearly 7%, Apple down nearly 7%, Meta 4, Amazon 4.5. Google is the most strong out of all of them at just
That's what
2.
we said, though, wasn't it? 'Cause that's closest to its 200 moving average, I think it is.
Yeah. I think that and Apple as well. I think Apple must be very, very close now. Let's see. Apple must be very, very close to its 200 weekly moving average.
Alpha Google is 4.5% away.
Not loading for some reason.
Amazon, it looks like it's bouncing though. Some of the Mag 7 stocks.
Oh, okay. So Apple's actually below it now. Apple's below its 200 weekly moving average on this as it's opened. So it is pretty much there. Okay, let's go back to it. Let's see what we're getting.
Bitcoin's bouncing. I would love to see a $10,000 straight up 1 minute candle.
Oh yeah, me too. I would love that. How exciting to watch that on stream.
Legendary.
Maybe it's not even going to be that bad. Maybe it's not going to be that bad. Apparently the green screen hides the bell and it makes an interesting hand gesture. Yeah, I bet. Okay, we are lowering down now. We're lowering down.
Crypto bro, the answer to that, the government bonds have all come up at various points during the year. I don't think there's any specific dates that they all kind of fall on. So it's just, I think it'll be throughout the year. Whiz of 400x, 4x, but 400x on 4x is not out of the norm though. You get that on a lot of exchanges. Anyway. So that's par for the course.
Well, the moves are so small, aren't they? You know, relative to crypto. So if you haven't got the size that you can put in just straight with margin, you do need big leverage, don't you? If you want to, if you want to try and make decent money off small moves, you either need leverage or you need a lot of money.
Well, the thing is, for on Euro USD, which is obviously the most liquid pair.
Yeah.
My base model for the most part is 6 pips as a stop loss.
Okay.
Which is tiny.
Yeah.
So Crypto Bro, I will DM you a video to watch that will help explain everything. I sent it to Dave this morning, a few others. It will be particularly just explaining what's what, but a lot of the actual 2 trillion that they keep adding every year comes from obviously paying existing debt off. But a lot of the savings will come from Doge, or projected to come from Doge. I think that's about 60% of it.
Mm-hmm. It's got Bitcoin holding relatively just flat. We have the S&P drifting. So as you can see, relative to Bitcoin's movement, where Bitcoin bottomed here, relative to the move itself, we're still hanging on tight there relative to obviously the SPX, which has retraced definitely over half of its original bounce. Bitcoin, here comes Bitcoin catching up now. It's like watching horses, isn't it?
I tell you what Have you looked at the Bitcoin dominance chart, Dave?
I think I cast my eye over it yesterday, and it was on its way to filling in the wick. Where is it? Here. Let's go and have a look.
Weekly or daily?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, okay. So it's nearly done it, hasn't it? Really?
Yeah. So the level I'm looking for is 66%.
So if we'll mark that out as Justin. So let's mark this out actually on stream, and we'll leave it.
You can blame me if it's wrong.
No, we'll leave it there because I don't look at this chart too much. So let's mark that out as Justin's level. Ooh. So I mean, this would either come from just one big massive liquidation cascade, wouldn't it? Or maybe people just getting out of alts because they're scared and into obviously Bitcoin, something like that.
But the thing is, it's not. It should be dropping by now, and it's obviously biblically high. What I would like to see when it gets above that wick, I want to see it basically grind up and basically keep forming bodies of candles filling in that wick, then have liquidation above in a quick, fast move again.
Yeah.
And then reject like there's no tomorrow. That's what if I was going to put
there we go.
Wish in, that was how I'd like it to play out.
Yeah, so we're fast dropping now on Bitcoin, in line with the S&P. Do make sure if you want to trade anything today as well, you click the first link in the description, sign up to BLOFIN, non-KYC. But yeah, fast drop. I mean, really, this looks like it is like staircase up, elevator down, doesn't it? It's got that kind of ring to it.
Yeah. Well, so we are now.
Come on, hit the first circuit breaker. Where do we need to go? We need to go to 4718.
4718 basically should hit us on the 200.
Yeah. That would put us in line, and I think that would be it then. Maybe we get a flash drop below, but there is just, you try and put yourself in the mind of hedge funds and stuff, don't you? Where are you going to bid this chart? The 200 weekly moving average, you would assume anyway. I don't know. I've never been in shop with a big hedge fund before, but you would imagine they'll be looking at this going, get the fucking bids right at the 200 weekly moving average and wait for it to drop there, and we fill there. In my mind, I mean, that's what I would do if I was managing.
Well, the thing, if it was me, I would be shorting it on perps, and I would be spot buying from here on down.
Yeah. I mean, one thing to potentially watch for on Bitcoin is if the low is in, and obviously it wouldn't be the actual low, but in terms of relative to dropping low, it would be. If we do come down and we just liquidate this low and then we reclaim, that's something to watch for. Maybe we put in like a low time frame double bottom pattern or something, but basically we just take out any stops below here, trap short, and then if we get back above, I think that's pretty good risk reward. That I think. Granted, we get back above.
Not that I remotely give two shits about it, but have you looked at the heat maps, Dave?
I had a look at them before because I posted one out on Stonksy, but apart from that, I've not looked at them. I only looked at the 24-hour one.
Do you ever take this into consideration at all?
I mean, to me, it just confirms what I already think. Obviously, it shows a big lit cluster exactly below where I've just outlooked there.
Which is what, Dave? What was below this level where we bounced from? 1 day fair value gap.
Yeah. Yeah.
And this is why people do not need indicators or other sites. It's all on the charts.
So if we're looking there, obviously that's there. Let's have a look at the 1 week. So we did rip through pretty decent liquidity, obviously, on Sunday. But yeah, I mean, there is a little bit of a cluster built up here, but yeah, I mean, whether we get that, another dip to liquidate the low or not, unless we go to a high time frame, I assume all the liquidity is to the upside now. I know. I think the monthly or the 3 month, there's obviously a lot around 60k and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, you look at this. These highs, they still didn't clear these highs. Even on this was when Trump done that speech about tariffs last week.
Yeah.
They still didn't liquidate these highs. So there's just an abundance amount of liquidity above there. But you know that because this wick, if you look on the chart, I think it cleared these highs here and then maybe like one of these, but it didn't clear this, I don't think, and it didn't clear any of these around here. So it's just liquidity begging to be swept there. If we go to the monthly, let's check the monthly. So yeah, so there's that big lit cluster down at 64. We'll just call it 64. But I mean, you look at 64 and you're like, well, there's nothing down there, is there? Like, you've gone past the point of the origin. You've gone past the 2021 all-time high. If you go down to 64k, you've literally just slammed yourself. Maybe into like the 100 moving average, maybe. If we look at the 100, maybe that's down there. But you literally just slammed yourself back into like the mid-range of that range. I mean, if we look at the 100 weekly moving average, so even that's a bit lower. That's at 58-ish. So there's literally nothing. You just slap bang in the middle, aren't you? Unless it happened really quickly. So that's where kind of you want to take these liquidity heat maps with a pinch of salt and not just targeting 64k for no reason. Because there's kind of no reason for it to go there unless it's going to go a lot lower.
Oh, okay. So we are now.
Oh, we're getting twatted. We're getting twatted. Come on, circuit breaker. Circuit breaker.
We are 2.17% away from the 200 moving average.
Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Circuit breaker. Circuit breaker. I want to see one. I want to see one live.
Can you imagine if it happens on stream?
Oh, it'd be legendary. I think that might be the most legendary moment of all streams ever.
What is my favourite cuisine in crypto, bro? It's a bloody good question.
That is a good question.
I love Japanese, so I'm a big sushi fan. Quite a big fan of Peruvian. What else? I think anything. I just love food and good food at that. Big fan. But if you was going to ask me what my last meal would be, if I was on death row, I'd say nice Côte de Boeuf and a nice bottle of red wine. That'll do me. Don't need anything else.
My favourite cuisine, I would probably say, I do love an Indian. I do love an Indian.
Yeah. What do you normally order at an Indian, Dave?
Obviously, you know, the usual poppadoms, you know, your chutney tray.
Yeah, but your main course, your favourite, what's your curry of choice?
Oh, I'm boring. I just go for a chicken or lamb tikka masala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't do well with. I do like spice, but I can't do anything hot. I'd say if I wasn't doing a masala and I had to be a bit out there, a pasanda's nice. I do like a pasanda. But I can't do anything like a madras or vindaloo or anything. Can't handle spice like that. No.
I like spice.
Are you guy who likes his tongue burns? Yeah.
No, you want to be able to still taste food. So my choice is a chicken tikka naga.
Oh, right, okay. Yeah. Okay. Well, there we go.
I hope that answers your question, Crypto Bro. You probably got more information than you actually asked for, but there you go.
So this is Mexican. I think my favorite thing in a Mexican is probably either tacos. Oh, I love tacos, probably tacos, or I do like a burrito as well. Can't really go wrong with it, can you? It's a staple.
So, leading the charge of getting absolutely smashed to smithereens is Tesla.
Is it?
Nvidia. So Tesla's 10% down. Nvidia is 7.36 down. Apple 6.5. at some point, and in a way, keep driving it down, because it will absolutely do a green dildo at some point. When? I don't know. And quite frankly, I also don't really care. It's as part of price action, actually getting deeper into demand. We should at some point bounce hard. So, what are you looking to buy any altcoins whilst we're in this depth of despair, Dave?
Yeah, to be honest, I fancy. So I was looking yesterday. I fancy TON if it does the full retrace.
Yeah.
So if we go and have a look at TON, let's go and have a look. So put it back on the daily. Again, TON's one that's annoyed me because I kind of, obviously when we was looking at it on stream, I kind of just lost track of it. And then I didn't follow up with it, as it kept grinding higher.
Well, it covered that candle, didn't it? That like funny candle. And then it liquidated into the, straight into that fair value gap and then has rejected.
Yeah. So I kind of didn't follow on with it. That would have been a great short. I mean, the risk reward on that was super, wasn't it? But TON, I mean, obviously, if we go back and have a look just at the general formation, this was just a clear SR retest. Obviously, this was all resistance for a good long while. We then got above, held it as support for a while, and then obviously bang off to the races we go. We come down, tested it again, but I kind of like it to just completely run through that, and around $2 is kind of, I like probably a retest of this again, which was obviously capping highs and then turned to support. So I don't know if it gets there. I mean, obviously that would be quite a steep drop for TON. So we're talking about another 30% drop. Ideally, I would love that, but I don't know whether we get it or not. But I mean, even a retest of this area again, I'd be interested in TON.
Yeah.
Apart from that, obviously, I'm interested in Solana around low 90s-ish, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, this is obviously ideal, but again, is this maybe one that's got too much attention on it? I don't know. This gap would make sense, but again, I don't know whether
spot, Dave, or are you looking at trading perps on
it? Either spot, or it'll be kind of like a longer term, like low leverage play. So either 2-3x.
Yeah.
So yeah, either spot or a very low margin, low leverage play. So one of the two. So I'm interested in that. Doge is interesting. I mean, that's come right back into. I mean, today it's pretty much bounced off where I was looking for the lower end of it, around 13 cents. So Doge is another one. Link again is coming right into now. We're already at $10. Well, we have come into $10.
I think just below that level there, where you've got liquidation now, is a lovely. Retesting that 2-year liquidation or accumulation phase.
I mean, anything into $8 would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
That is then into rocket fuel of where it can absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it will be probably focusing on keeping it very small and maybe just focusing on some of the, the large caps. So TON, Link, Doge maybe, and maybe even something more. I mean, the thing is, I look at something like DOT, and DOT is now absolutely,
oh my God.
Like, there's nothing there.
Lost weekly support.
Yeah, we've gone all below 2020 support. Then obviously we've retested that a handful of times in recent past. Unless we reclaim that, we are obviously then, I mean, really, the only thing you can look at is coming into, potentially coming into here somewhere. Maybe that is worth a very small pump, but it's one of them where it's drifting into price discovery to the downside.
The thing is,
very dangerous.
There's a lot of people, it done well last cycle. There's a lot of people that are probably heavily involved still and not taking profits.
Yeah.
So at some point in time, it's going to get a pump. So I bought some cow this morning.
Yeah, okay.
Because not anything TA related. It was the fact that it went to a psychological level, and I had a bid set there, and
Yeah.
I suddenly got a trigger alert saying, "You are now proud owner of some new cow." I was like,
yeah. So I mean, if I had to give you a handful, I would probably say Sol, Link, Doge, Ton, and then one more would probably be. Yeah. I mean, you do fancy. It's not just going to go to zero, is it? You do fancy it for a turnaround at some
the
point.
thing is, if you're looking at it from here, it depends what you're looking for, right? Is it going to do from these levels, $1,500 or whatever it is? Is it going to do 4x? Probably. Are you looking for more than 4x, or are you looking for? Because I think there are some. If you're looking at it from a portfolio standpoint, I mean, the ETH Bitcoin chart looks like a bag of dicks. It is horrendous.
Oh, look at that on Bitcoin now. We are
Bouncing.
getting some good bounce. See the volume. Yeah, I mean, the ETH Bitcoin chart is just ridiculous, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is just nothing short.
If you actually gifted with one skill, which one would you do? Well, I might be already gifted in more than one skill, crypto bro. So maybe I don't need any more.
Justin's definitely gifted in more than one skill. I mean, that's a good question, that, isn't it?
I'm quite happy with the skills that I've got. I'm the grandmaster of talking bullshit. Am I frozen, Dave? I don't know what's happened.
I think you have froze. Yeah, you should. It normally snaps back.
Oh, there you go.
It normally snap back on its own.
What is the largest animal you think you could take down in hand-to-hand combat? I don't know. What is the largest animal? I don't know. I like animals. I don't know if I would want to kill one, unless it was if I was hungry.
Or if it attacked you.
Yes.
If it attacked you, you had kind of no choice, do you?
Yeah. Then I would summon the superpowers from Crypto Bro, so I'd be alright.
Yeah.
Combat.
Okay, we are getting a decent sized bounce, aren't we?
How funny would it be if we finished the daily candle at $90,000? What would that look like as a daily candle?
Oh, I would show that so much. Can't lie. I would love that. I would love to short that. Yeah, I mean, this is going very well in terms of squeezing up, isn't it? If we look at today's high, so the current daily high is up at 79,300 odd.
The thing is, market structure wise, so I chucked on the 15-minute. I chucked on 2 levels, right? So, are you on the 15-minute, Dave?
No, I can't be. Yeah, there you go.
I chucked a level on the bottom of the candles from about 10 a.m. this morning.
So that's 3:30. 10
a.m. Yeah, bottom of them, like 10, around about that bit, yeah. And then if I was bidding, it was there, and then between there and downwards, the formations from about 6:30 this morning, out there, yeah. That would have been the area that I thought we would come into. Yeah. And it's so far.
So far, so good. Yeah, so far, so good. We are getting one mighty squeeze. And the thing is, we are going to see this pretty aggressively, these short squeezes, aren't we?
Yeah, the SPX is getting a nice little move on as well.
Yeah. Now, it wouldn't really be surprising if I mean, just remember, yeah, obviously we've got the CME gap up here somewhere, wherever it is, around 84k. But, yeah.
10% of Americans think they could take a crocodile. I'm pretty sure if I was going to choose an animal that I would least like to face is a crocodile.
I wouldn't like to face anything. Yeah. Like, I wouldn't want anything that could just eat me alive.
No.
So like a crocodile, a bear. I mean, really, one of the scariest ones that people probably don't realize is an orangutan. Orangutans would actually just rip you apart, don't they? They peel you like a banana.
Yes.
So, an orangutan, a gorilla, like anything like that. Obviously, if you're doing it in water, a shark, a scouse bird, yeah, definitely that as well. Definitely that. What a 15-minute candle this is! Wow.
Come on, just one ginormous fuck you candle.
Oh yeah. It's squeezing hard, isn't it? It is squeezing very, very hard.
Beautiful. My entry on cow with no leverage whatsoever is up 10% already.
Oh, look at that.
Did you hear that whiz? I bought some cow this morning.
What a squeeze. This is across the board. I mean, I bet altcoins are loving this. Yeah, look at Sol. Look at ETH go. Look at it all go.
Dave, in a minute, I am going to have to depart because it is...
Yes, no worries, mate. I mean, if you look at XRP, it's coming into that area now. If this gets towards $2, I'm going to have a stab at this.
What, short it?
Yeah.
Good, Dave.
Because really, this should be, unless we get a proper good day on Bitcoin that just catalyzes this to think, this should be range breakdown now.
Yeah.
Really, on this. Like, it should be range breakdown unless there's just absolutely some dirty foul play going on, which already has been anyway. But this should be like kind of, if it does get up there, underside retest and then roll over. Pretty much like we got on Bitcoin. If you go back and look at Bitcoin, when we had this, we got it squeezed obviously a little bit more. This was kind of the proper retest, isn't it? This was when Trump announced that strategic reserve and just catapulted it on a Sunday. Yeah. Where we then obviously come back down, and then this was kind of the proper underside retest and then fell off. So that's really what we should get in XRP, unless it's being completely manipulated.
Which, my bid was at 20 cents whiz on cow. Very dirty. So maybe we pumped it. Crypto Bro, book is easy. I'd probably take something like Pompeii. How would I listen to music and watch a movie on a deserted island, on a desert island? That would be my question back to you. Right, Dave, I've got to bounce because it's 3 p.m. And
no worries, mate. Big thank you for joining. Appreciate it.
No worries.
Everyone show Justin some love in the chat. Obviously taking his time to join us every Monday.
Yeah.
To give us his insight, which is obviously very valuable. So big thank you to you, mate. Thanks for joining. And
no worries, and I'll catch you during the week, yeah?
You certainly will. Yeah.
Nice one. All right, I'll catch you later on.
Cheers, mate. Bye.
Cheers. Bye.
Right, there we did have Justin on again on a Monday for a great US Open as well. Now, do make sure, if you haven't already, please do drop a like on the stream. Do subscribe if you're not, and if you do want to try Stonksy out, you can get 20% off your first month with code BOT20. It is pinned in the chat. It's also in the description. And I've put it in there again. So you click the second link to take you to the Stonksy website and use code BOT20 at checkout. If you do want to try Stonksy for 20% off your first month, yeah, obviously all the benefits of it, indicator access, Discord access, and you get whitelisted for the trading bots on BLOFIN as well. But you guys let me know, what are your thoughts on this bounce? Do you think this is This is merely. Do you think the bottom's in now, or what's everyone's thoughts? Let me know in the chat. Right, let's see. Should we have a look at what we're getting across the board? So SPX is giga squeezing now, so maybe it's coming up to test 5,000 again, as you can see. 5,000 was providing resistance during London hours. We've got gold hanging around, but mainly we want to look at Bitcoin. What's Bitcoin doing? Yeah, big old squeeze on Bitcoin. ETH, pretty much across the board. I would be surprised if anything looked a bit different to what Bitcoin does. I imagine everything's got a very similar sort of pattern. Downtrend low, push up, and then, yeah, big old squeeze is what I imagine. So I don't think there's anything looking probably too different. Maybe things will squeeze harder than others. You got something like Hype up 9%, Tau up 6%. So things will squeeze harder than others, but I imagine everything is showing very similar signs. But that was the first half an hour of US Open. So was that just a relief bounce? Was it short squeeze? Let's see how today develops. Dave, what price do we have to hit for you to bleach your hair like the Stonksy logo? Well, if I just went bleach blonde, for me to go bleach blonde, I don't think there would be a price for that. I think you would have to pay me. I don't think there would even be a price for that. I think you'd have to pay me. I would do it for a price. There's a price to everything, isn't there? But I don't think if we said, oh, Bitcoin hit 69k and I bleach my hair, I don't know if I'd do that. But if you want to pay me to do it, I would be more than willing to do it, yeah. Hugo has just shorted ETH at 1557. I mean, is this just a short squeeze, or is this maybe some form of strength? It's going to be interesting to see what plays out, isn't it? Would you do it for 5k? Yeah. What? Bleach blonde my hair? What do you do it for? 5k? I would do it for 5k. I'd do it for less. To dye my hair bleach blonde, I'd do it for less than 5k. Why are you going to pay crypto, bro? I would dye my hair bleach blonde for 2.5k. 2.5k, and I'd dye my hair bleach blonde. Yeah, why not? There's a price to everything, isn't there? There's a price to everything. I mean, you can't turn down 2.5 grand to just dye my hair blonde. I'll chuck in 1,000 to a charity of your choice. Mate, the charity will go to me because I'd be getting so much abuse and everything. Can you imagine me walking around? You've got to remember that I've got to walk around with bleach blonde hair when everyone's been used to me walking around as I am for the last, God knows how many years of my life. So the charity will be to me to take all the abuse off everyone. 1 ETH. So Wizard give 1 ETH. I'd take 1 ETH off you. Yeah. Tell you what, you all put some money in a pot and come back to me. You all put some money in a pot, come back to me, tell me how much you got and I'll consider it. 5k of Sheba in you. What's that? How much for specials? What do you mean, short video guru? Specials of what? How about bleach blonde and singing "I'm a Barbie girl" in the central of the pool? I don't think I could. I don't think I could do it. Honestly, it would have to take. That would be a serious amount of money to do that. You gotta remember, people. If you saw someone doing that, you would just film them, wouldn't you? So it'd just be permanently marked on me. That would be a lot of money. You said price for everything. Short video guru. There is a price for everything. Yeah, there's a price. There's a price on everything, isn't there? There is. Unleashed it on you now, Dave. That's fine. Tell you it's blonde. Yeah, let's go. Oh, we're pushing up. We're pushing up hard as well. Dress up as Ronald McDonald. Yeah, I mean, I would be up for that. Why not? I would do that. It depends what your classes cause a scene. It depends what your classes cause a scene. Went full bleach. Yeah, I mean, I would do it. I'd do it. But, yeah, there's a price for it. Just depends on how badly you would want to see me with bleach blonde hair, I suppose. But yeah, I mean, we're not getting much movement. That first half an hour was the giga movement that it looks like we've had. We're not getting too much else in this second 15-minute candle, apart from hovering around towards the weekly open. The question is was this just a short squeeze on open, and are we going to continue down? Or is this like kind of actual strength showing a potential bottom? That's the main thing, isn't it? That we want to know. Now let's see what's going on. So we've got Google filled its gap pretty much. We've got Tesla. So the Mag 7 has pushed back up pretty much from open, obviously lining up with a lot of them. A lot of them have anyway. Some of them are still working on it. But it's going to be interesting to see, was this just a short squeeze on open, or is this a sign of actual strength? I mean, for Bitcoin, we're struggling now at the weekly open, aren't we? So we're struggling at the weekly open. But, I mean, it doesn't really take much to squeeze Bitcoin all the way back towards the 80Ks, does it really? Short hit entry at 78,400. Okay. Yeah, it seems like it, doesn't it? The aggression on it seems maybe like it's a short squeeze. What's everyone's idea for this week then? Does everyone think that we bottom out this week? Does everyone think we bottom out this week, or what are you thinking? We've got 22 likes, which is good. There's 40 people watching. Can we push this towards 30? Got 80 votes on that poll as well. That's a good amount of votes. Please do try and push the likes towards 30 if you can. If you haven't liked, please do drop a like. But let's see. I mean, that is we had the VIX as well. The VIX opened today. I think it's 60s. So the volatility index of the S&P 500, we opened, at 60 pretty much, which is very, very high. I think that might be... So it's its highest, obviously, when we had the Nikkei drop massively in August. Apart from that, obviously COVID is the highest point of the VIX. Oh, pushing up now. Yeah, pushing up. So I'm interested to see what happens if we take this. If we take this current daily high. If we carry on pushing up, because you got to remember, this is, I think, between, say, can I grab this? So between the Monday high and this blue line, I think we're going to maybe come into some resistance. But the S&P 500 is bidding like giga bidding. So it's kind of like, do you want to step in front of the train or not? But we are giga bidding now. Smash those likes, yeah. 98k, end of April, says Short Video Guru. Potentially, mate, yeah, potentially. I mean, if that was the bottom, that was the bottom, weren't it? Maybe that was peak fear. Bottom. So this is going to be interesting to see what happens here now. I mean, I don't really want to step in front of something like this. I think the main, if you're looking for a short, this is where we got supply entering, wasn't it? So I'm going to leave that marked out, but I think maybe we might have topped out low time frame on Bitcoin. I don't know. It's a pretty big level to reclaim. If we reclaim this, it's pretty much just going into filling all this, isn't it? Straight up to here. Plow straight through my stop. Yeah, that was aggressive, that. Yeah, I mean, yeah. A lot of alts have already bounced back massively, haven't they? You know, huge turnaround on alts. I mean, the S&P 500 is just bidding massively, isn't it? It's like giga bidding. I'm very annoyed with myself as well because I completely went against my plan. I bidded too early this morning. Price come down, which, yeah, I would have been in a prime position now, long from down here, if I'd have gone with my plan instead of bidding too early. So, annoyed with myself at that, otherwise I'd be in some really juicy profits right now. You know, if you entered around here, you're up 6%, aren't you? I think this is the place. I think this is a place to watch. Make sure tag the monthly open or just this point on the chart. I think this is potentially where price maybe comes in and then maybe we get a fall off. I'm watching for it. I'm going to be watching for this. We could do this very quickly because, oh, wow, look at that. That is a serious bid. Have we had something come out? Is there like a China-US settlement or something coming out? Because we're seriously bidding here now. SPX flying, Fartcoin ripping. Everything will be ripping, won't it? Everything will be ripping. It is ripping. It is absolutely ripping. Let's go take a look to see if we've had. Yeah, that wasn't even that bad, was it? $90-day pause on tariffs. Apparently, EU and US agreed to remove tariffs on industrial goods. So he's winning, isn't he? He's getting what he wants. So this will probably all go away. Right, we're entering now, retracing this. I think this is a point to watch. I think personally this is a point to watch here. Just because we're getting all this and stuff like that, remember, we can still come back down. So I think, but I mean, that you can't deny, can you? That, I mean, if we look at the 1 hour candle, the past 2 hours, let's have a look at the 4 hour candle. It's one pretty crazy candle, that, isn't it? But I'll be watching it. I may have a stab at a short up here, if we can squeeze up there. What a mistake that was today. 7% up. Wow. What a squeeze. What a... Oh, look at the SPX. What a squeeze. Say with crypto's just made 17% with 19% with Palanta. That was £817. Wow, nice, mate. Very nice. Huge squeeze. Look at the S&P go. That is one big giga squeeze in it. Once we got up here, we've pretty much just reversed the whole drop, haven't we, from yesterday? Look at the strength on it. It's insane. The strength on that is actually insane. Wow. Where is the CME gap? Up to 84k. Pretty much. Up to 84k. If you do want to try Stonksy today as well, you do get full indicator access, Discord access, and access to the trading bots. Then you can get 20% off. The link and code is in the description. What do you guys think about this, though? What do you guys think about this? It's one hell of a squeeze, isn't it? One hell of a squeeze. I've signed up. Yeah, I remember you saying, Stonksy. I'll sort that out straight after the stream, mate. Now, potentially that it. Potentially, that's some really big absorption on the S&P there, isn't it? So, are we now going back to Goblin Town? I'm annoyed that it didn't come to the origin of entry because I would have shorted that, but there we go. Where did I even have that box drawn? Okay. So what is my camera doing? Nope. What is it doing? We'll leave it there for now. Yeah, do make sure you drop big thumbs up on the stream, please, if you haven't already, and do subscribe if you're new. And if you're looking to trade anything today, do make sure you click that first link in the description, sign up to BLOFIN. Link is in the chat and first link in the description. Thing is, it's a big absorption on this candle now, isn't it? The S&P now is squoze up. I think this would really mess with people if we just come down now and started going lower. I don't know if that will happen or not, but I mean, maybe we come down and maybe fill in somewhere down here. Obviously, new lows is a different question, but I think it would really mess with people if this was nothing more than a short squeeze. It's one nasty looking 15-minute candle on Bitcoin now, isn't it? Yeah, we're dropping pretty rapidly on both now. That was a big short squeeze, and we did fill in some of this. Just a shame we didn't squeeze up a little bit more and tag that. I was interested in that area. But as you can imagine, now if we look at alts, I bet we saw, again, the same pattern probably across the market. Yeah, so ETH, push up, big absorption, XRP. Oh, that got all the way to $2. No! I should have been paying attention to XRP. I might try and short that. I might try and short XRP here. At the same time, you don't know. It's difficult, isn't it? Because it's not behaving as you would expect, because really, that's now underside retest. That's now an underside retest of the range, so are we going to carry on dropping on XRP? It's a pretty weird market, isn't it? But I think everything's probably put in a really nasty 15-minute candle there, yeah. But yeah, big thank you to everyone who tuned in today. Obviously, great having Justin on stream again, as we do every Monday. Oh, yeah, that's pretty nasty. That's pretty nasty. Okay, we'll see. Well, we'll see what happens, won't we? We'll see what happens here. We're getting a big retracement on the S&P. But yeah, good stream looking at what's going on across the market. Do make sure, drop a like, subscribe, and click the links in the description. Reminder, you can get 20% off your first month of Stonksy. So if you do want to just come and have a go with it, you can for 20% off. There's no contract, there's no ties, nothing. Click start now, and then you'll select this. But if you do want to get the 20% off and pay in crypto, if you click the big email address hyperlink here, just say you want to get the monthly plan with the bot 20 discount, you can pay in crypto as well and receive the 20% discount. You don't directly have to go through the fiat payment system. And we'll see what we've got tomorrow. This is now forming quite, I imagine, if you go to the hourly, quite the bad hourly candle. That doesn't look very nice at all, does it? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens through the rest of the day. The S&P is now tumbling back below 5k. So that is not nice at all. That is pretty harsh. So we'll see how this reflects on Bitcoin. Was that just a big old mega short squeeze? Are we going to the lows again? We'll have to see. But in the meantime, big thank you for joining. How they squeezed at every single market like that, because they just follow each other, mate. They just follow each other. So at the moment, Bitcoin's very tied to the S&P. You get big relief on the S&P like that, Bitcoin's going to follow it. They just follow each other, and then all altcoins follow Bitcoin. So it's pretty much just a domino effect. You see how Bitcoin has followed the S&P on this dump as well. It's just completely reciprocal of each other. But in the meantime, I will catch you all for tomorrow's stream. So yeah, do make sure you come back. Stonksy, obviously I'll sort you out after this stream, mate. Sort your access and stuff out. And yeah, that's all from me today. So take it easy for the rest of the day. Do be careful in the market. But as we've seen today, there is plenty of opportunity out there. And for those of you in the Stonksy Discord, I'll see you in there. Ciao for now. Catch you tomorrow. Goodbye.